The internet didn't just wake up confused, it woke up nervous. Overnight, timelines started flooding with the same chilling headline, and nobody could agree on whether it was real, leaked, or intentionally dropped to send a message. Screenshots, audio timestamps, blurred out call logs, and one rumor that wouldn't stop spreading. The FBI allegedly obtained King Von's final phone call, and a familiar name kept echoing through it again and again. Fans are shocked, not because a call exists, but because of what people claim is inside it. Whispers of panic, a voice under pressure, long pauses that feel heavier than words. And then the part that has everyone spiraling. Lil Durk's name allegedly mentioned 47 times. 47 times. That number alone lit the internet on fire. Comment sections turned into crime boards. Old interviews resurfaced. Lyrics were replayed like evidence. Fans started asking questions nobody wanted to ask out loud. Was this a warning? A confession? Or a final attempt to protect someone before it was too late? Emotions ran high as close friends, family members, and insiders were suddenly dragged back into a night they thought was buried. And as clips began circulating, one thing became clear. If this call is real, it could rewrite everything fans thought they knew. Stay right here. Because once you hear what's allegedly on that call, you might never hear King Von's story the same way again. The moment the rumor hit, it didn't arrive quietly. It crashed into the culture like a glass bottle thrown through a window at midnight. No warning. No confirmation. Just a sentence that felt too specific to be random and too dangerous to be fake. The FBI allegedly has King Von's final phone call. Not a summary. Not a transcript. The actual audio. And according to people claiming insider access, that call wasn't calm. It wasn't poetic. It wasn't reflective. It was tense, fragmented, and filled with one name that kept coming back like a haunting echo. Fans are shocked because this wasn't supposed to exist. King Von was known for being careful on the phone. He said it himself in interviews. He joked about it in lyrics. Phones talk, he once said, half smiling, half serious. Which is why the idea that a final call even survived, let alone ended up in federal hands, instantly raised eyebrows across the internet. Late-night spaces started running it back. Old lives. Old interviews. Tiny moments people ignored before suddenly felt loaded. One clip resurfaced where Von laughed and said, "If something happened to me, y'all gonna hear a lot of stories." At the time, fans brushed it off as bravado. No. That line feels different. According to online chatter, the call allegedly happened in the hours leading up to that final night. Not days before. Not weeks. Hours. And that detail alone made emotions run high. Because if that's true, then this wasn't just a casual check-in. This was a moment where pressure was already in the air. Sources online claim the call starts with heavy breathing. No greeting. No "what's up?" Just silence, then movement like someone pacing. A voice allegedly says, "You hear me?" followed by a pause long enough to make listeners uncomfortable. Fans who claim to have heard a snippet say the tone wasn't angry at first, it was urgent. And then comes the part that split the internet down the middle. The repeated mention of Lil Durk's name. Not once, not twice, but over and over, woven into different sentences, different emotions, different tones. Sometimes calm, sometimes sharp, sometimes almost protective. That's what has fans spiraling, not just that the name was mentioned, but how it was allegedly mentioned. One alleged line making the rounds reads, "You gotta tell Durk," before cutting off. Another claims Von said, "Durk don't know this part," followed by what some describe as a frustrated exhale. None of this has been verified. No official audio has been released. But the consistency of the rumors is what's keeping this alive. Friends close to the situation have reportedly gone quiet. That silence. It's loud. Normally, when fake stories pop up, someone jumps in to shut it down. A tweet. A post. A simple, "This ain't real." But this time, there's been hesitation. And fans are reading into every second of it. Family members, according to online speculation, were blindsided. One alleged insider claimed that when word of the call reached certain people, emotions ran high behind closed doors. Some wanted it buried forever. Others believed if it existed, it explained too much to stay hidden. The fanbase, meanwhile, turned into detectives. Lyrics were dissected line by line. One song in particular began trending again because of a bar where Vaughn says something along the lines of, "If I call you late, it's serious." Comment sections filled with theories. Was that line a reference? Or coincidence? Then came the twist no one expected. A supposed timeline leak. An anonymous account posted what looked like call logs, blurred, cropped, impossible to fully verify. The timestamps allegedly matched known movements that night. That alone sent shockwaves through the community. Fans are shocked because suddenly, the theory wasn't floating in the air anymore. It was attaching itself to time, place, and sequence. At the same time, accusations started flying. Some fans accused the system of selectively leaking information to control narratives. Others believed this was someone close to the situation testing public reaction before something bigger drops. A few went further, claiming this was never meant for the public at all. And right in the middle of it all sat Lil Durk's name, trending, debated, defended, and attacked simultaneously. Supporters rushed in, saying mentioning a name doesn't mean wrongdoing. Close friends talk. Brothers talk. That doesn't make someone guilty. But critics weren't convinced. They pointed to the number. 47 times. That number felt intentional to them, like emphasis, like urgency. Online, one viral comment read, "You don't say someone's name 47 times unless you're trying to say something without saying it." Another responded, "Or unless you trust them more than anyone else." And that's where the story split. Was this call a warning? A plea? A plan? Or something far more emotional? A man under pressure reaching out to the person he believed could fix things? According to one alleged retelling, the tone of the call shifts halfway through. The pacing changes. The voice gets sharper. Words come faster. At one point, Vaughn allegedly says, "I'm not trying to hear that right now," followed by what some describe as background noise, doors, movement, maybe even voices. That detail shook fans because it suggested Vaughn wasn't alone. And if that's true, then this call wasn't happening in a vacuum. It was happening in motion. As the night deepened online, fan pages started posting cryptic messages. One wrote, "Some truths only make sense after silence." Another simply posted a black screen with a broken phone emoji. No captions. No explanations. Behind the scenes, emotions were reportedly running just as high. Alleged insiders claimed arguments broke out over whether this call should ever be acknowledged publicly. Some felt releasing even the existence of it disrespected the dead. Others felt hiding it disrespected the truth. And then there's the question nobody can answer yet. If the call exists, why now? Why leak it years later? Why let rumors spread instead of shutting them down immediately? And why allow one name to dominate the narrative instead of clarifying context? Fans are left divided. Some believe this is the missing puzzle piece that explains years of tension, coded lyrics, and emotional performances. Others believe this is exactly how legends get dragged into narratives they can't defend themselves against. But one thing is undeniable. Once this rumor surfaced, the story stopped being about the past. It became about what might still come out next. Because if this was only part of that call, what else was said? And more importantly, who was listening? By the next morning, the rumor had evolved into something heavier than gossip. It felt organized. Fans noticed the same talking points appearing across platforms, almost word for word, as if someone wanted the narrative framed a specific way. Emotions ran high because it didn't feel random anymore. It felt intentional. Screenshots of alleged transcripts appeared and disappeared within minutes, fueling the belief that someone was testing reactions while staying just out of reach of accountability. People closest to King Von's legacy were suddenly placed in an impossible position. Speak up and risk confirming something dangerous, or stay silent and let speculation grow teeth. According to online insiders, heated arguments broke out behind closed doors. Some believed silence was safer. Others believed silence was guilt by association. That internal divide allegedly mirrored what fans were feeling publicly, confused and emotionally pulled in opposite directions. Then came the first alleged dialogue leak. A short paragraph, no audio, just words on a black background. It claimed Vaughn said, "If anything go left tonight, you gotta make sure Durk understand why." That line alone sent shockwaves. Fans are shocked because it framed the call not as casual conversation, but as contingency planning. Whether real or fake, the wording was precise enough to feel unsettling. Reaction videos exploded. Some creators paused after every sentence, reading it like scripture. Others laughed nervously, insisting it was obviously fake. But even the skeptics admitted something felt different this time. The story refused to die. It grew. Each denial only made it louder. Each unanswered question became its own theory, stitched together by fans desperate to make sense of chaos. Family reactions, according to speculation, were the most emotional. One alleged source claimed a relative broke down after hearing about the call, saying it reopened wounds that never healed. The family was left divided between protecting Vaughn's memory and confronting the possibility that his final moments were far more complicated than the public ever knew. That tension spilled into the fanbase almost immediately. Meanwhile, Lil Durk's silence became its own headline. Every appearance, every lyric, every facial expression was analyzed frame by frame. Fans argued non-stop. Some said silence was respect. Others said silence was strategy. Emotions ran high as people projected meaning onto every move. A single Instagram caption was enough to spark 1,000 theories within minutes. Then came another twist. An alleged expert, claiming background in digital forensics, posted a breakdown explaining how a call like this could survive, be stored, and resurface years later. Whether legitimate or not, the explanation sounded believable enough to scare people. Fans are shocked because suddenly the story had a technical backbone, not just emotional speculation. As tension grew, so did accusations. Some fans accused bloggers of exploiting tragedy. Others accused authorities of selectively leaking information to control legacies. A darker theory suggested this was punishment, not exposure. That idea spread fast. The possibility that narratives could be weaponized after death made people uncomfortable, and discomfort kept them watching. Another alleged dialogue surfaced, this time more emotional. The line claimed Vaughn said, "I ain't scared, I'm just tired of explaining." That sentence hit hard. Fans flooded comment sections with broken heart emojis and arguments. Was this frustration, acceptance, or just clever writing designed to feel authentic? Nobody could agree, and that disagreement kept the story alive. Behind the scenes, according to rumors, pressure mounted to shut everything down. Legal threats were allegedly discussed. Statements were drafted and scrapped. Everyone involved seemed to understand that once something like this gains momentum, stopping it becomes nearly impossible. The internet doesn't wait for confirmation. It runs on emotion and suspicion. As days passed, the call rumor stopped being about evidence and started being about belief. People chose sides not based on facts, but on feelings. Some believed Vaughn was warning someone. Others believed he was protecting someone. A third group believed the entire thing was fiction built on grief and loyalty. None of those beliefs could be proven, yet all of them felt real. By the end of the week, one thing was clear. This wasn't just a rumor about a phone call. It was a test of how stories are built, how legacies are shaped, and how silence can be louder than any leaked audio. And as the noise grew, one question refused to disappear. If this much chaos came from alleged fragments, what would happen if the full truth ever surfaced? As the story dragged into its second week, something subtle but dangerous happened. The rumor stopped feeling new, and instead started feeling accepted. Fans no longer asked, "Is this real?" They asked, "Why hasn't this been explained?" That shift mattered. Once a narrative settles into belief, facts become optional. Emotions ran high because people felt invested, almost personally involved, in a call none of them had actually heard. Fan pages that once posted throwback photos now posted timelines. One graphic claimed to map King Vaughn's last 48 hours minute by minute. Another tried to connect phone activity to known movements that night. None of it was verified, but it looked official enough to convince casual viewers. Fans are shocked how quickly speculation can dress itself up as research. Then came the alleged motive theories. Some claimed the call was about de-escalation, an attempt to prevent violence. Others claimed it was the opposite, a call made because things were already set in motion. A more emotional theory suggested the call wasn't about plans at all, but about but fear. Fear of consequences. Fear of betrayal. Fear of being misunderstood once gone. That last theory gained traction after another supposed line circulated: if they play it back later, they're gonna twist it. Whether fabricated or not, that sentence felt prophetic. Fans reposted it everywhere, saying it explained everything. The idea that Vaughn knew narratives could be manipulated after death struck a nerve in a culture that's seen it happen too many times. The family was left divided, at least according to online whispers. One side allegedly wanted a clear denial to protect the legacy. Another side allegedly felt denial without proof could backfire if more leaks appeared. That internal conflict, real or imagined, added fuel. Fans began arguing not just about the call, but about who had the right to speak for the dead. Artists close to both camps felt the pressure too. Old collaborations were reinterpreted. Lines once seen as hype were now read as foreshadowing. Emotions ran high when people realized how easily art can be reframed once context changes. A song doesn't need new lyrics to mean something different, it just needs a new rumor attached. Then the narrative turned darker. Some fans suggested the leak was meant to provoke reactions, to bait someone into speaking. Silence became dangerous. Speaking became risky. Every option carried consequences. That tension made each day feel like a countdown to something inevitable, even if nobody knew what that something was. An alleged insider claimed there was disagreement over releasing anything official because doing so would legitimize the rumor. That idea made sense to some fans and enraged others. Fans are shocked how powerfully silence can function as both shield and spotlight at the same time. As debates intensified, empathy started getting lost. Comment sections turned hostile. Accusations flew. Loyalty tests emerged. If you questioned the rumor, you were called naive. If you believed it, you were accused of exploiting tragedy. The family was left divided not just privately, but publicly through proxies and fan interpretations. Then came the moment many feared. A short audio clip circulated, less than 10 seconds long, heavily distorted. No clear voices. No clear words. Just enough ambiguity to keep arguments alive. Some swore they heard a name. Others said it was manipulated noise. Whether real or fake, the clip did what it was designed to do: deepen the divide. Emotions ran high as people argued over headphones, waveforms, and slowed-down versions. Experts weighed in, contradicting each other. Fans chose the interpretation that fit their existing belief. Confirmation bias did the rest. The call rumor had officially become untouchable by logic. What got lost in all this noise was a simple truth. King Vaughn is no longer here to clarify, deny, or explain. Every version of this story exists without his consent. That realization made some fans step back, while others doubled down. Grief doesn't resolve cleanly, it looks for outlets, and rumors are convenient containers. Some supporters began asking a different question. Even if the call exists, what does releasing it accomplish? Closure? Accountability? Or just another chapter in a cycle that never ends? Fans are shocked how rarely that question gets asked in the middle of chaos. By now, the story wasn't about Lil Durk's name count or alleged transcripts. It was about power. Who controls the story when the main voice is gone? Who benefits from ambiguity? And who gets hurt when speculation replaces truth? As days passed, attention slowly shifted. New stories emerged. New scandals competed for clicks. But this one didn't disappear. It lingered, unresolved, like a sentence without punctuation. People moved on, but they didn't forget. In the end, maybe that's the most unsettling part. Not whether the call exists, but how easily a legacy can be reshaped by whispers. How quickly fans can become investigators. How silence can feel louder than any recording. And maybe the final twist isn't hidden in audio at all. Maybe it's in how we choose to remember. Because once a story like this takes hold, the truth doesn't just need to be spoken. It needs to be believed. And belief, once fractured, is the hardest thing to repair. At this point, the story sits in an uncomfortable place, not confirmed, not denied, and not forgotten. What started as a rumor about a final phone call turned into something much bigger. A debate about legacy, loyalty, silence, and how quickly narratives can spiral once emotion takes the wheel. Fans are shocked not just by what's allegedly on that call, but by how fast speculation replaced certainty. Emotions ran high throughout every stage of this story. From alleged transcripts to distorted audio, from silence being interpreted as strategy to grief being mistaken for guilt, nothing about this situation feels clean. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the truth, whatever it is, was never meant to fit neatly into headlines or comment sections. The family was left divided, at least in the court of public opinion. Supporters argued over protection versus transparency. Critics demanded answers while admitting they might not like what those answers reveal. And in the middle of it all, two names remain permanently linked by rumor, memory, and a fanbase searching for meaning. But now it's your turn. Do you believe this call actually exists? Or do you think this is another case of the internet turning fragments into fiction? If the call is real, should it ever be released? Or should some moments stay private forever? And if it's fake, what does that say about how easily we accept stories that feel true? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Read other opinions. Debate respectfully. This is bigger than sides. It's about how stories are told and who gets to tell them. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what drops next. Because in this world, the loudest stories aren't always the clearest, and sometimes, the truth lives somewhere in between.